Hi there, everybody. We're live. Thanks for tuning in again. All right, I'm going to flip over to the live chat, see who we've got here this morning. You can see that I've got a little bit different environment behind me. I've set up to do some drawing. I titled the video How to Draw because I couldn't find anything more specific for a subject this morning. So I'm going to rely on you a little bit for the subject. Good to see you again, Mary. Must be making coffee. Hey, I got that done early today. I was late just because it was actually, you know why I was a little late getting started, because at the last minute I decided, hey, I need to find this big binder that I've got full. Oh, I need leverage to pick of childhood drawings. So, I want to show, we're not going to go through this. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with my life history, but we have the best mom ever. She took the time to do these for each one of her 5 sons. She took all of the childhood documents, drawings, important things she saved over the years. And man, I am so thankful for it. In that book, I have my very first drawing ever. That was a recognizable drawing of an object. So we'll take a look at some of those things. I thought it'd be fun to show you my beginnings as an artist. Hello, Aaron Mason from England. All right. Hi, Michelle. Good to have you back. Top of the morning to you, Wings and Things Studio. And Jane Roskamp is here. All right. Good to have you. Yes, all is well. Thank you very much, Noeletta. Thank you for being here again. All right, Joe Drawings. Yes, we're going to look at drawings and do some drawing. So my thinking is that, I want to share with you. Hello, Carol, spelled from Frisco, Texas. I want to share with you how my path has been, my journey to becoming the painter that I currently am, and how that began with drawing. Everything that I do with color today began with an understanding of shapes and light and shadow, and how to produce those first. And so I'm not saying that it's the way. Just it was the way that I went in order to develop the level of skill that I currently have today. That's what happened. All right. It looks like we got someone from Brazil. I'm not fast enough to translate that one, but thank you, Jose, for being here. I am well. Thank you very much. My drawing was on a wall. Mom was not happy. Yeah. We had a lot of those too. We did have a lot of those drawings that were not in the right place. One time, my dad came home to find that I had used a dinner plate for a paint mixing palette. He was very gracious about it. He was like, Joe, this is something that I understand, but you've got to know that this is not the way we do things here. You can't do this again. But he totally understood the need for instant supply for creativity. Okay, we've got my brother involved again. I've got my brother Ben to help me, so I'm going to get him on the phone right now. He's going to give me a hand. Hey there, Ben. How's it going? Oh, I got to turn him. Oh, let me check the audio. Okay, good thing you caught that early. Okay, let's get our system figured out. Get that right. Okay, so we'll get the audio better, and I'll turn on my texts so that I can see when I'm in the middle of drawing. Ben's going to help me make sure we don't miss your comments. So let's get that figured out right here. Let me just give me a moment. Take a minute. I'm going to fade to black while I mess with it so that I don't make a whole bunch of obnoxious noise while I'm fixing that audio. So I'll be back in just a moment. I promise. Oh, switch cameras, switch cameras. Give me a second. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Is that better? Do we have audio? You know what I had was the computer right by the microphone. So probably some electronic interference right there on that condenser mic that's plugged in. So good thing Ben caught that. We don't want bad audio while I'm trying to have a good time being creative here. Man, everybody can relate to this. Technical issues and creativity don't mix. Man, it's like such a hard gear switch to try to resolve anything technical. All right. So we've got audio sounds better. Good. Thank you. Sounds great. Says Ben. I got verification that we're good. I successfully resolved the problem that wasn't art related. I feel good about that. Now I'm just drinking water. This is just water because I got to try to keep my voice from failing. I've noticed on a lot of these live streams, I'm just talking and talking. Man, by the end, my voice is just hurting. It's not what it used to be. So hopefully that'll help. You know, they say drink lots of water for your voice. I've got my phone right here. Now here's the way it's going to work. I'm going to flip. You know, I got to flip to a different camera, and I got to look down at my drawing a lot of this in order to do something productive here. So I'm going to show you the other view we've got. And what we'll do is, whenever I'm missing something, Ben's going to send me a quick text. Talk about this comment. Okay, so he's on the live chat right now to be my middleman because I have a hard time keeping track when I'm in the middle of my artwork. So here's my other camera shot. This is what we're going to do. I've got the overhead right here. And so this is where I'm going to draw. And now what I want to start out with is maybe just a quick demo on doing a like a character's face, right? We can all relate to the difficulty of a character's face because there are so many little things that, you know, once you put it in, it has potential to wreck your drawing. If you leave it out, no big deal. I mean, pretty easy to draw a smiley face, 2 dots, a smile, but since we have so many little dials to turn, so to speak, with facial recognition, the more you add, so you start adding parts, you know, you learn, okay, when I do a nose, I've got nostrils, so this time I'm going to draw the nostrils separate. I'm not just going to do it. You know, you add details as a learning artist, which we all are, which I still am. You know, I'm always looking back at things, wanting to do it better. But as you do that, it's valuable to understand that you're adding a new dial that has the potential to wreck your picture. And so then the next step, it's not backtracking and saying, well, it's the last time I do that. When you add something, you put something in, it looks bad. You don't backtrack and say, I'm not meant for this, I'm terrible, I'm done. I mean, you can. Who am I to say what you need to do with your time? You know, but I mean to encourage that you just got to learn what the dial does. You just got to learn how to manipulate it. So I'm going to flip back to this overhead camera, and actually let's just I'm going to do this. I'm going to flip back to the overhead camera. I'm going to be watching my phone so that I can be sure not to miss anything important as we go. And I want you to feel free to draw along. So here's something fun I learned in the course of learning to draw better myself during all of this COVID shutdown. I have been drawing nonstop. Look at this callus on my finger. Do you see that? Look at my, I'm sorry that I'm flipping you off, but you got to see this. You got to see this right here. Look at that callus. That is new. I didn't even have that before this shutdown. I used to have one on this finger, and then I noticed that, you know, because I grew up all my life holding my pencil like this, and I noticed, hey, when I draw like this, people can't see what I'm drawing, so I got to learn to do this better. So let me recommend, if you don't do this already, learning to hold your pencil like this. Mobility is much better, the hand relaxes, and you get that lovely callus on your middle finger. Okay, now let's draw a face real quick. So let's say that we've got two nostrils right here. Okay, we're going to go like this, put some nostrils in right here. And then let's put the bridge of the nose right there. And I'm thinking that we have eyes like this. And so I'm going to go like this, up and then over and up. Let's put some little circles in here for the middle of the eye. And here's how I do a real quick eye. If I'm just trying to do a fast job, then what I'm going to do is start dark up here, lighter as I go down, like this. And I get this more three-dimensional look on the eye. So now I'll darken this middle, like that. Let's go darker on the top, lighter as I go down. And then let's get the dark center on there. And then very quickly, I've just got this sketch. So, realism, doing realistic work, I think is a lot more about getting the values, getting the light and shadow in place than it is getting the details. Okay, so now I'm going to put eyelashes. Look, an eyelash, just a quick check mark. So we're going to go check, 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 check. For the upper eyelashes, check, backwards check marks. Notice that I can make them real crooked. Doesn't matter because, we have some eyelashes kind of glued together when we do this. That one looks kind of funny right there, that one going. But my character has some crooked eyelashes. Okay, so we've got eyes, we've got a nose. Let's put a mouth in place. And I want to show you something that I've learned, that the nostrils, if you pull the nostrils outward, then you have a much more believable smile. So let me just put here, let's raise up the wrinkles on the bottom of these eyes. Let's put a little shadow in the corner right here. Put a shadow under here, maybe here. So now we have a little more three-dimensional eye. I'm going to put some eyelid right here, a little shadow above the eye like this. And let's put a brow in place that goes like this. And I'm going to try to make this face more female-ish. So I'm going to keep the brow a little bit higher than I would than I would if I was doing a masculine face. So I've talked about this before. The difference between masculine and feminine is face bones. And so I'll just go like this. Let's go. Keep the eye sockets more open, less deep. Now there's a direction you never have to learn again. Once you learn it, you can memorize the direction of brows. They go like this. They grow down from the top, up from the bottom, and they come together, points, as they go outward. And then as they approach here, the direction, it's like a calic, the direction goes in a spiral. Toward the middle of the nose, it spirals around like this, until it starts going this direction. So this direction just turns like that. So you can just do a quick impression of it with like that. You can get the middle of an eye if you want to get that detailed. It's just fun. I just think it's fun to know that. And so I've got brows in place now, and I really don't need even close to that detail. So then let's put a mouth. Here's a fun thing with the mouth. So I want to talk about expression and turning dials, right? I was talking about turning dials. So when you add a mouth, if I just do a simple mouth, we're going to go up, down, like this. And then I'm going to do the top like it, up, down, up, down. So I'm going to create what is like a snarl. We're going to put the nostrils going out. They're going to go this direction, and what that's going to do is be in harmony with the lips being pulled up from where the canines are. The reason I want to do this is because I want to show you something fun. I want to show you how it's the same expression. We always know when an animal is agitated because it'll have this same expression. And I can draw it if I understand the dials that create this expression, then I can reproduce it on a person or an animal. So I'm going to show the canines right here. We go a line right here for the upper teeth. I'm going to put another line down here and put the mouth open. Let's go up like this. Go up like that. And then we're going to really put this lip going up this way so that it's not pulled up at the middle. It's pulled up this direction, diagonally up this way, which also flares the nostril. And we get the emotion that we would call, probably, I would call aggression. You know, so I want an aggressive look on this character. Let me go like this, darken this mouth. And then I'm going to darken the corners. Like this. Let's get lighter as we go out toward the middle. So now I just put like a three-dimensional look on the mouth just by adding this shadow into the corner. So you can see that I like to work in layers. So in order to make this look a little more like my aggressive face that I'm looking for, I'm going to put maybe less. I'm going to put less of the lip rising up in the middle, put more of a curve so that I really get the look of it rising up here above the canines, like this. And then let's put the eyebrows to match it, put a little bit of tension in there so that we have a more frustrated look. It's not too, maybe a little bit. Doesn't look bad to have that line in there. Okay, so drawing the parts is one thing. Getting emotion in the parts, I think, is a fun thing to have in your toolbox, is being able to create the emotion that you're after. Okay, so I've got nostrils. If I just flare those out to my liking, you can see that the more I show those flaring out, the more I get a nose that's in harmony with this expression. So now let's put this shadow on the nose, above the nostril, above the nostril. Let's put a darker line right there, and then let's put the edges of the face in place. So female face, we're going to go maybe like one eye, maybe a little less, and really taper the jaw inward. And I've got it facing kind of downward. You can see maybe it's like a little bit of a downward angle to this face. So let's go like this. And let's bring this in a little bit. So I'll just gradually taper the jaw and face bones inward until I feel like I have a feminine looking face. Let's put a shadow under this mouth too, like this. And then if I really want to go further on the details, this line here, you never need a lot there. If you put a lot, here's something to remember with drawing. Everything is a shadow. Every line is a shadow, and the darkness of it will determine how deep that shadow is. So you're creating three-dimensional shapes. So just because you see a line somewhere doesn't mean that you can draw it on there and have it look good, because one of the dials is how light you make that line. One of the knobs that you can turn to make a deeper or a shallower crease in it. And so to create this frustrated, aggressive emotion, I want those lines there, and I can make them more or less extreme. Okay, I'm shrinking the jaw, bringing this up here, like this. And it still looks a little bit on the masculine side to me, so I'm going to shrink it more. I'm going to bring the chin upward a little bit more as well, like this. And I'll show you this fun shadow that you can put on a face. You can put a shadow right here under each eye, like that. A little darker toward the middle. I leave a light spot in there. Put a shadow there, and then I can put a shadow that goes right here on the edge of the face and creates a diagonal line like this. So you get a three-dimensional shape to the face with this diagonal shadow, and you can decide how bony is your face, how much do the cheekbones stick out just with this line. I made one a little darker than the other, and I'm also simultaneously defining the cheekbones. So see how I bring this shadow in like this? Let's put a shadow over the nose now. Under the nose. I said over the nose, I meant under the nose. Now that's a little more 3D. And so I've got the eyebrows feel a little bit raised up. So there's no shame in going with instincts. Once I've got something laid out, I'm often just taking a look at it with instincts to adjust it. Because all I need to know is what dials there are to turn, so that when I get a feeling like, well, this just feels like not quite as angry as I want, then I say, okay, I need to go to the angry dial, which is the eyebrow and how downturned it is. Okay, maybe that's just one of them, but this is my point, is I don't need to draw always just logically, like I'm drawing from a template. I just need some tools to bring my imagination to life. So when I want a more angry look, I just bring these eyebrows down, but this needs to be in harmony with these elements. So when I did the nose, I had the understanding that a nose that is flared outward needs to be along with a mouth that is flared outward. It looks really silly if I flare the mouth but don't flare the nose. That doesn't go hand in hand. And you know what? A flared nose, I got to show you something. Hang on. We're going to switch the camera because I want to show you the difference between a flared nose and a non-flared nose on my own face. Okay, so you go, when my face is relaxed, my nostrils don't have a lot of curve to them. So I was contemplating this, and these are this is my life. This is my life, is contemplating the tiny shapes that make what we see. And so when I flare my nose, the shape changes. It's not wider. I know that the first thought through your head is a flared nose is wider, the nostrils go out. Well, yeah, it is, but what if a person already has a very narrow nose? Then when it gets wider, then it's just normal, according to whatever average you're basing it on. So it's not the width itself of the nose, because people have wide noses and narrow noses. It's the shape of the nostrils related to the nose. So when I go like this, you know that I'm flaring my nostrils because the shape changes. So if I want a flared nostril look at my drawing now when I switch the view. To get this expression, look how I bumped out the middle of the curve. So faces is the one thing, I'm just getting distracted by these eyes while I talk about the nose. Faces are the one thing where those little adjustments make big difference. And I talked about this like when I was drawing the fairy and doing little parts of that body. This is where big differences are made visually, is with these little shapes. So hardly any shadow here because this shadow gets opened up. So just a little bit right there. And then this curve gets slightly more cornered here in order to flare those nostrils out. Because if I make it a real smooth curve, it's just a wide nose. It's not a flared nose. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So now I've got an aggressive face. It's not happy. So I'll use the same strategy. And it's, I still feel like I'm somewhere. This is kind of gender neutral at the moment, isn't it? So I'm just going to leave it that way, but you see my point. So now let's go like this. Let's come over here and do a cat face right here. We're going to put a nose, and a cat's nose is something like this. I'm going from memory here, so I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about this. Maybe it's like this and then up. It kind of comes back to me as I draw, because it's like, oh yeah, I remember this as I draw shapes. So we're going to go like this. We're going to take this, flare it up. Now these are the lines that show us that this line points to this curve. We imagine a swooping shape over this nostril. Well, on an animal, we're going to see that somewhere. On a cat, it's going to be right here on the nose. Okay, the mouth, instead of just being like this, the mouth is going to go more straight. And we're going to see a lot more canine than we would have. So here we want to just show the canines with a much flatter lip line that maybe otherwise would have been like downward. What do they have? Like 4 little teeth in between 2 big ones. Like this. Now let's put some bottom teeth here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 little teeth and a tongue in the middle, like this. And so now we've got these, what do you call these cheeky things? Okay, you can already see the same expression on this cat mouth. And then if I take the eyes and I squint them, so let's take eyes and maybe put them right here, like this, and put it right here, go over this way, and we're going to put the muscles really squinting. See this line? That's the lower eyelid, shutting that eye. And then we're going to put a little undilated pupil. I think little pupils always look more agitated or focused. Put a little bit of light on this too. So when I draw a dragon, you saw me put together a dragon. Years of studying animals has led to my love for creating animals from imagination. Let's put this wrinkle on the face right here. There's always this kind of upside down teardrop shape like this. And then we have a similar kind of emotion where these lines right here are giving us the angry eyes. We have this, which is the same thing as this. We have the canines showing by raising up this lip. And we have a common understanding. So I love how there's relatability. We have emotional relatability in animals. And so some animals we don't get to see that relatability, but I just think it's awesome when we do. And so many canine creatures, we have that same relatability. So then let's say we're doing a dog. We can actually just turn this into a dog face. You want to see the difference between dog and cat? It's a more square nose and maybe less slanted eyes. Watch, let's do this. Let's put the nose up here and make it like this. Oh yeah, I haven't been watching my hang on. I have not been watching my phone, and so Ben's calling me to tell me that. Hey, sorry, I wasn't watching my texts. My bad. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out. Okay, what am I missing? Okay, I'm keeping an eye out. Okay, so let me open this up and look at my... First time I was doing it, I was like, I said to Ben right at the beginning of this, I was like, Ben, just send me a text. I'll keep my phone, I'll look at it. I guess it's not quite that simple. I don't just automatically look. A few watchers specifically like watching you correct mistakes as it gives them tools for getting out of trouble. Maybe talk about that. Oh, very good. So I'm going to talk about that. Let me flip over and let's look right here. So like I said, we want to know where the dials are to turn. This is how you correct mistakes, is understand that every part is something that can be manipulated toward or away from one expression or another. So I want dog, not cat. Let's say I'm trying to draw a dog and I'm like, oh, boogers. I made a cat. Yes, that's a real expression. You say boogers when you don't like to cuss. Okay, so then I put a nose on this, and correcting mistakes is very much about getting yourself something to see. You just shamelessly get something on your paper, give yourself something to look at, but then combine it with knowledge about what you're trying to arrive at. So having the dials to turn. I feel like understanding parts, I always preach about this, understanding parts is how I've approached art in general, is just understanding parts. And so when I see something, I go down my parts list. Okay, see this rounder nose? So let's put a shadow right here. And so I can go down the list when it doesn't look right. It's like, oh, this looks like a cat. Okay, let me go down my parts list for dog. So correcting mistakes. If you don't know the parts, then I'm afraid you're just shooting in the dark, correcting mistakes. But if you have a parts list, then you can go down that list. Okay, so to make this look less like a cat, I need a less pointy nose. That's one of the criteria. Okay, I'm going to go to another part. Let's correct the eyes. I meant to do a dog, and I made very catty eyes. A dog has a very specific brow line that is perhaps more sloped than a cat's. So where a cat has eyes slanting more downward, let's put a dog's slanting more outward. And we can probably still get a more angry look on this dog, but just use a slightly less sloped line to create a more dog looking face. Okay, and then let's put the same angry, it's the same parts just at different positions. And so I'm just going down the list. I've got eyes, I've got nose, okay, cheeks. What's the difference between cat cheeks and dog cheeks? Okay, even if a dog has a narrow snout, that dog usually doesn't have such high and tight muscles on these cheeks. It relaxes in the front, even if it's narrow. So then for a dog, I need to make sure that I narrow this front right here. So let's go like this for a dog. Now here's the difference between dog and cat, is that it has this, this, and this, and then perhaps I need to look and learn more parts. I've never really arrived at the pinnacle of understanding. I feel like a dog has a smaller chin too. While a dog has a larger upper snout, I think it has a smaller lower snout by the chin. So let's put a smaller chin on this as well to make this more doggy. And then let's put it here. So now it's this big, scary looking barking dog. Looks like a few I've seen. This is how I make a dog face. And what's weird is it kind of looks like, as I'm looking at the picture on the screen, it's kind of morphed. So here, it's still kind of a cat dog. I'm going to narrow the mouth. I'm going to go like this. We're going to put the canines closer together. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Because dogs, as I'm going down the parts, and now I'm on snout, now I'm going through the criteria. It's like the parts within the parts, So it'd be nice if there was an easier, simpler answer for how to manipulate a drawing and make it look good, But it really is just having a list of parts that you can systematically go through and check them off the list. Okay, I did that one right, I did that one right. And as you do one after another, you gradually arrive at your desired results. Okay, now I'm just going to put some shadow in here. Like that. Make this mouth a little bit deeper. Put shadow in between the teeth. Like this, shadow here. Maybe some shadow under the tongue so it looks like it's kind of lifted up. It still looks kind of catty to me. So I don't know. But it looks more like a dog than it did. And the truth is, I'll reach a point where I'm at the end of my knowledge and I have to reference pictures. So that's when I go to pictures and say, man, I got to learn the parts of a dog to turn this into more of a dog face. But the way I get myself 90% there or whatever it is, and I just realized something. This is helpful, is to understand that dogs have more of a forehead. So if I take this nose down and let's make more of a forehead by bringing this up, I got to try this. It's like memories get triggered while I'm drawing, Let's put nose holes, maybe right here, right here. We need a more squarish nose for a dog. And then I'm going to put these wrinkles lower because I want more of a forehead on this. There we go. Let's slope these eyes a little more. Like this, and then maybe let's take this down right here, right here, Okay, I've got more of a dog now. Definitely has more. maybe just a, maybe just a scary animal. So this is my workflow. Is going down a parts list. It's that simple. I can't tell you enough how helpful that is. So every picture that I do includes research. So I never just trust my memory. Just because I can draw things from memory doesn't mean that it's going to be my best result. I have to remember that it's always going to be better if I go and learn something new that I'm missing. I'm always missing stuff. So that dog, that half cat, half dog face, that's all I can do. That's all I can do from raw memory. But I'm just moments away from perfecting it by going and looking at pictures. So when I look at a picture, same thing is true. I have to remember the parts list. So my phone automatically shut down here. I got to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Can you draw Wolverine? A couple have asked. Yeah, I can draw Wolverine. We can do that. Here, what I'm going to do is get a picture so that I'm not violating any licensing. I'm going to get the picture here so that I'm not putting it. So what I'm going to do, this is a great, perfect example. What I need to do to draw Wolverine is not copy a picture of Wolverine. That's good practice. It's very good practice. But I'm going to draw Wolverine in my own pose by using the parts that I see. So let's do a quick search here. I'm going to type in Wolverine, and so let's see, Wolverine, and it's going to bring up the animal, but hopefully we'll have some of the character as well. Oh yeah, there he is. Okay, so I'm going to go to the classic Marvel Comics Wolverine, not the Hugh. What is the actor's name? Hugh son. I'm not gonna do that guy. I'm gonna look at old pictures of Wolverine, and so he's got like a yellow helmet. He's got black things. Those black things come into his brow. So when I look at these parts, I'm plugging the parts into facial features that I already have well memorized. So if I have something to attach new observations to, they stick. So a lifetime of enjoying, looking, memorizing all the different parts, the shapes that I like, has given me a lot of just plugins, quick plugins. So it doesn't take me long to say, okay, I get it. So the black things come in, and right at the bridge of his nose, it's wider. It goes in under his brow to enhance the expression if he's angry. And then it goes up and down at the nose, leaving the yellow come in between. He's got 3 lines. And it's not just 3 lines. He's got a center line and one across each temple. So it's easy for me to memorize that. Okay, so then the facial expression. Big, masculine mouth. Huge mouth. So I've got to remember that. And then he's got some facial hair. I got to look at a few more pictures. I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want to get in trouble for licensing. So we're almost done with my study. I'm going to look at this one and see. We've got some shadows of facial. I know that when he has it off, and some of the old drawings when he's got it off, he's got hair there. But I'm going to draw him with his outfit on, just like the classic Wolverine. Okay, so I could probably go even further with this. I'm not sure how much I can memorize in one sitting, but I'm really going to strain myself. I also notice on some of them he doesn't have the 3 lines, but on others he does. So I wonder if that was like a later or earlier development in Wolverine. He had 1, 2, 3 lines going. So he's got blue stripes across his chest. We can do that. I'll draw that. Oh, here's a good one. He's got blue stripes going down his chest on each shoulder. Then he's got 3 diamonds going down his rib cage, where it just comes in like a square on each of his pecs. And then he's got those 3 diamonds going along. At least in that one he does. So let me compare. Yeah, it's in that one too. Boy, I think and then he's got a yellow spike. Wow. This is a lot to remember. And then he's got a black, like shoulder ridge thingy going over. Let me see if I can just get that far. Okay, so I've got my phone there. And so let's get a new piece of paper. So this is what I observed what I can remember. And I don't have exceptional memorization skills. I just have attachments for these things. I'm going to refresh my page here while I'm talking because it doesn't show me how many people are watching, and I got to look and see how nervous I should be. Here's 76 viewers. All right, thanks for watching, all 76 of you. So I'm going to flip back over and switch the camera again so that you can see what I'm doing overhead. And I got to use all of that knowledge. So a lot of this is knowledge that I already had. No big deal. So let's put a body in place like this. Let's go body. We're going to go armpit to waist to hip. We're going to put some muscles halfway down here for a chest like this. Let's go up to a collarbone. Right here is a muscle. Then right here we've got some none of this is new information. To draw Wolverine, I don't need to learn how. I already know how to draw the anatomy of these muscles, you know. So step one is getting these in place. So let's put a shoulder right here over this armpit. Let's make it swooping out like this. Attaches to the collarbone. And then we have the upper arm right here, and then we have the lower arm. We'll put that lower arm kind of coming forward because he likes to put his claws going out. Let's go like this. Attach this muscle to the collarbone here. It's got fibers that go out this way, like this, to the armpit. Then it goes up to the armpit from here. This is just muscle anatomy. You know, we've got one part of the muscle, second part of the shoulder muscle, 1, 2, like this. And then let's put that big muscle going up to the neck. It's going to go here, and then let's put the chin down low like he's leaning forward a little bit. And now I can do that same, remember the mouth I did? Let's see if I can do a real similar mouth. And I'm going to look and see, yeah, I can do that. So let's put the mouth going like the M, a spread apart M, goes down like this, under, and then all I need is a little curve right here that separates the lower teeth from the upper teeth, a little curve under it for a shadow between the lips. Look, just those two lines, look, it's angry teeth, just like that, just that little bit. Okay, let's make the canines showing because he is definitely a canine. And then I'm going to put a nose, and so I remember the mask comes down onto the nose like this, and it goes over like this. We need it onto the eyes. I remember this shape. So I'm purposely not looking at my phone to see the shapes because I want to test my memorization of the parts. I always like doing things from memory first. You know, and then I go back after I've exhausted my memory. I go back to see what I can adjust. So let's do a head on top of this. Now his head is a little big for his body, so we might need to expand that just a little. Let's put some angry eyes right in here like this. So we'll go up and over like this, do our same angry eyes that we did before like this. I got to remember that if I put those eyes too close to the edge of the head, it's going to give him a very childlike expression. So if I want a adult, mature, more big, masculine expression, I got to remember to shrink the eyes down enough that I've got the look of bigger face bones. So if I just put those a little closer together and really get these shapes in place. Okay, now I've forgotten the rest of the picture. So here I'm looking, we've got the eyebrow going up. We got to maybe slope that top line a little. Well, that's pretty close. It's pretty good. So maybe I'll just go like this, put that up there, maybe put this up and over, get a little more three-dimensional look on this head. Then we had these three lines like this. We had 1, 2, 3 for the top of the head, and then we want some shadows here. So let's put shadows right there at that chin, like this. Shadows right here, so that he's got some facial hair. And then let's darken this in. Bring that up. Bring this up like this. Do his angry eyes. Must be so exhausting being a Marvel comic hero. There's never a light moment. Everything is always so serious. Okay. I'm going to put the head right there, and now I can just work on expression a little bit by maybe enhancing the shadows. If I want to put a little more shadow under the eye, and just leave that light colored in there. And then I've got the shadow under the lip right there. This is how I put the separation between the lip and the chin. Okay, so muscles here. We've got for a very muscular figure, then we want the head to take up less than 1/3. My head takes up about 1/3 of the width of my shoulders. So I'm going to really expand this out. I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to really bump the shoulders out so that I have this taking up a lot less than 1/3, because I've got the tiny body effect on my Wolverine. So then right here, you know, the chest isn't so bad. The chest is not the worst I've ever drawn. Right here. Let's bring the shoulder over like this. 1, 2, 3 sections. Then we'll have a bicep that comes over like this. It kind of slopes in that direction. And then we'll put, oh, now that's a big arm. That might be a little too big here. Let's go less. So my gauge for bicep, I'll put the rest in place, is the waist. The length from the armpit to the waist. So there's a muscle that goes up like this, and then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 little things like that. 1, 2, 3 things that come down from there, right from the corner of this pec. 1, 2, 3. There's these muscles along the rib cage. 1, 2, 3. They go down here, and then I'll have the abs in here, and they divide. There's a gap in the middle. So I'll probably see a shadow that's right in here. So I'll go like this and put a shadow under that top stomach muscle going over like this. And so now I remember this. It came down like a square. Let's curve it with the body. And then over and under the armpit. This was the shape that I saw. And then it had a spike that wrapped around like this. So let's color this in, but not all the way black. Let's do this. And then the same thing on the other side. Let's make that shape curve. Now I've got perspective, you know, because this is a little bit higher in the armpit. If I make sure to put that a little higher in the armpit, it's put some perspective, like the chest is closer. Lines are such a powerful thing, you know. If you make sure that you make lines travel along the perspective that you want to have in your picture, then they are very powerful to work in your favor that way. Okay, so we had that dark marking right there, and then we had lines going down on each side of the stomach. So I got to remember that. So we've got ab muscles right here, 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 belly button. We're not going to put the belly button. He's got a suit on. I almost did that. I really almost gave him a belly button. And so then we're going to put the triangles, which we had 3 of them. 1 and 2 and 3. So let's go here and go 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm going to finish the muscles that are around this area. So we've got an ab going down here. I kind of lost these in the shadows, so I might redefine those a little bit. Bring that down, bring that down. And let's go here and put the rest of the body in place. So maybe I'll put the hips like this, and then maybe the leg coming out this way. Let's go let's go, where should I put the leg? This is how I think. I think with my pencil. I say, okay, if I put the leg here, it's going to be right here, coming this way. Do I like that look? I could put it out this way. I could put it up like this. You know, there's all these different positions I could put it in. I think I'm just going to do like a front-facing, aggressive stance. So let's go like this, put the leg coming out. Okay, so parts. We've got belly button, we've got the parenthesis muscle right there. We go down to the hip. This needs to come over and down to create the groin. And so to get a believable attachment of the legs and for the penis area, you know, I need to understand how these parts connect together. I've got this muscle on each side of the belly button that goes diagonally down to here. There's a divide right in between these. And so if I make sure I can imagine all those parts in there, then I'm headed for a much more believable anatomy as I put it all together. So then let's put the legs in place right here. We're going to have a muscle coming right down from here that goes across the leg like this. The inside of a leg is like this, 1 and 2 curves. Let's do this one raised up a little more, 1 and 2 right here, and we'll put this muscle going like this. There's a muscle on top right there. So you can see that some of this I had to learn just now, but there's so much that I didn't. There's so much that I learned a long time ago. Well, relative to this drawing a long time ago. Okay, so now I have officially reached the end of my memory on the markings of his uniform. So I got to look at the picture. I got to look at the picture again and see what we're dealing with so we can do a quick finish on this guy. And let's see here. We've got oh, Ben sent me all these pictures. Nice. He sent me good pictures. Sweet. Okay, so we've got markings on the edge of his uniform that I can see. And let's put, let's see how we do these right. Oh man, he's got a belt. He's got a big old belt on there with a Marvel logo. Or a star, is that what it is? Is that Marvel? What is that? No, that's not Marvel. I'm wrong about that. There's an X. Okay, I'm going to go like this. And let's put a triangle here. Negative space. Don't forget, negative space sometimes is more helpful than positive space when you try to get things in place. Then we've got a belt thingy here with a couple of awesomeness packs. Just in case he needs one. Okay, we've got a big old belt. Let's put some wrinkles in the uniform. So now that I've got that, I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. We've got like this, and then wrinkles in the uniform. Like that. So this leg will look more forward if I put these wrinkles higher like this. And then we've got some dark stripes on each side. Right here, right here. Okay, so now let's put some ripped arms on this guy. Let's put some biceps coming across here, and then you're going to see the tricep under that coming down like this. Then you'll see a elbow area, and I'm going to go ahead and put that coming forward like this and make his fist right here. Let's put the fist. Here's a quick fist. Let's go like this. Thumb right here. That's got to go up here, and then we're going to have knuckle, 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 knuckle. Then we've got to make a line for where those knuckles come to. 1, 2, 3. And so doing hands is all about understanding knuckles. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to go right under that thumb. And then this line is going to connect that thumb to here. Now we've got a fist on this arm. And these muscles, we're not going to see a lot of these muscles now because of the angle of that forearm. But it's worth mentioning that these few lines right here create the perspective of a forearm, because even if you don't know how to reproduce it in your memory, you've seen enough forearms that this matches up with what you've seen. So when I do a line here, I do this one and that, you see a familiar set of curves, concaves that are on arms. Okay, let's put shadow under here and here, like this. And he actually, oh yeah, I forgot these things. See, I blanked that out. He's got those shoulder guard thingies. At least on some he does. I'm noticing that his outfit is not consistent on all of the drawings. Okay, so this arm, where are we going to put this one? It's kind of a boring position. I wouldn't say I chose the most exciting position for Wolverine here. Let's put the shoulder muscle coming down. Let's put the bicep coming out like this, like that. And let's make this one going a little further out now. So we'll go like this, put this muscle, and this one maybe goes right here. So we've got 1, 2. Now, if you want a real good demo on these parts that I'm drawing, I just want to mention that Ben has just started editing a project for me that will be released very shortly of the anatomy, front view, back view so far, soon to be side view, of the male and female form. Okay, let's put this arm. And so if you want to see if you want to see all of the parts that I use, all the things that I'm considering in order to put these in the right place. Okay, let's go like this, knuckles right there. And I think I'm going to curl these fingers a little. Let's curl them. Bring this under. And then he needs his claws. Okay, what is there, 3 on each hand? Like that. There's 1, 2, 3 on that hand. And then we've got, they come right out from his bones, huh? I remember that. 1, 2, 3, right there. All right. So now let's put some shadow to make this a little more 3D. Put shadow going down this armpit, shadow going right down here on this leg because it's further back. Now this leg comes a little more forward. See that? Let's put shadow under his chin. Brings the head forward. And then we can put shadow under his pecs so that they look nice and big. And shadow under his ribs. Put a little bit of a three-dimensional look to his muscles. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That's my quick Wolverine. I don't know that it's the most graceful positioning as I'm putting together the parts. You know how sometimes when people catch you in transition, you always see photos of politicians mid-word. I caught him mid-battle. It wasn't like his his most stoic pose for the camera. There's an art to that as well, getting just the right position. Okay, so let's see if I'm missing anything here. Ben's keeping me updated. I want to invite you to, there's like a 10-second delay, so I'm going to stop, take a look at the live chat. I want to invite you to ask any questions that you want to talk about. Give me any suggestions. I've got time to maybe draw one more thing. What time are we at right now? Time flies when I'm drawing. 10:09. We've only been doing this for an hour. So I meant to keep them all at an hour, but the average has become closer to 2 hours. So if you want me to do anything, let me know, and I'm just going to take a quick look and see if I'm missing anything here. So parts. I can't tell you enough how parts are the key to drawing better. Let me make sure that I've got a good live feed here. Yep, I do. Wolverine looks great. Can you possibly show us foreshortening of the human? Well, I can show you some for sure. I can do that. It's a lot of parts to do, so I might run out of time to demonstrate, but that's a very good question, very good subject. So I will show you some foreshortening. Popping his claws out. I did. Mary C. Instead of mentioning sound, you got to draw with sound effects. It's very good. Making sound effects as you draw the claws. Yes, because it goes hand in hand with creativity, I feel. Okay, Leanne says child. So let me get this straight. Leanne, you're saying how do you draw a child, like the look of a child? I can do that, but I want to make sure that that's what you mean. Trees and ice, says Susan. Whoa, draw trees and ice. Goblin. Okay. We've got a diverse pool to pick from here. Let's see. What do you guys want to learn how to draw? Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much. Well, while we're stewing on that, I love the idea of showing some foreshortening. So let me just do a quick demo. Let me see if I can think of something that gives a good demo on how to learn with your own resources foreshortening, since I'm unable to demonstrate everything in the time that we have. But I completely believe that this is more possible than, let's say, it's been made out to be by the art industry as we know it. I believe that we all operate in this world by having a three-dimensional map in our mind. I believe this is just the way that we're wired, a three-dimensional grid to snap things to, and that if you spend time focusing on learning the big parts, the smaller parts within those, the smaller parts within those, then I really think your mind does a great job of telling you what shape things become as they turn, but you need knowledge of the parts. And so I'm just going to go through that real quick. Okay, so I'm going to take this call. Ben's going to tell me something here that I'm missing. Yep. Oh, that's a good idea. Adult face to a child face to an adult face. Very good. Very similar to doing like masculine to feminine to masculine. You know, very similar. Okay, so let's do that. Now, let's do some foreshortening. So let's say a basic person. Let's go over to my camera so that you can see what I'm drawing here. We're going to cut to the overhead again, and let's put a body in place. So I understand that from the side. So this is meant to just impart some knowledge, not to have you draw along, because I'm going to move kind of quick. I understand that from a side view of a person, we have a shape like this. Okay, we've got the back going to a butt. We've got this going down to legs. We've got the legs going down like this. And we've got, on the side view of a person, the hips out further than the shoulders. And so the shoulders go back, and the arms come down off the shoulders like this. They go forward. We've got a hand right here, kind of right at this butt marker there. And then we go to the foot, put this down here. And there are some very concrete proportions that I have spent a lot of time training myself to identify quickly in order to draw that. And you can see that in this video that is going to shortly be released, that I'm doing how to draw the male and female form. But right now, I just want you to see what I'm thinking. I just want you to see that I'm remembering that the chest comes out over the body, but I do see some of this part of the belly in there, and then I see the lower part of the belly. I'm going to put a person diving toward me, is what I'm going to do. So on that person, I'm going to see shoulders right here coming toward me. I'm going to see those out from the side of the head. I'll see the chest. The body will very rapidly shrink down away. And then I'll see very short legs since they curve back and under. And so in order to get very believable foreshortening, I need to remember what is blocking the view of what. So my line of sight is going to be this direction. I'm going to be looking like this. So I can see the legs, I can see the feet, I can see the head, but it's all going to be coming toward me. And so now the front view of this person without the foreshortening is going to be like this. We've got a shoulder, we've got an arm. We're going to go over like this, do the chest. We're going to go like this, put the other shoulder. Arms come down about to the waist like this. We've got a divide. We've got the stomach. It makes an oval that's about as big as the thigh. And then we can go like this and put a knee and then put the outer leg in place like this. I'm a little bigger than the one that's over here. 1, 2 curves. These are going to get affected by the foreshortening as well. And then let's go like this. Put the knee bumping out a little bit. We've got this offset to legs. And then we're going to go like this down to an elbow. We've got a curve right there and here. Then the hand comes halfway down the thigh. So we've got knuckle, knuckle, fingers. We go up like this. Okay, this is a front view of a person. And so I need to take all of these parts and shrink them as I go down the body in order to create the foreshortening. But I don't just shrink them. While I'm doing that, I need to be thinking about what is in front of what. Now, all this feels really overwhelming when you're seeing it for the first time. But if you go down this path of memorizing these parts, then you will not come back empty-handed. It just takes you just need to think about what you want to do with your life, because it's a significant amount of time to become so familiar with these. And once you do become familiar with these parts, your mind starts putting them together, not just two-dimensionally. You have a 3D mind. It's putting stuff together three-dimensionally all the time so that you don't ruin your life by pretending you live in a 2D world, right? This is how we function and survive. So all of these parts are something that I quickly memorize by understanding their relationship to one another, so that once I have one in place, I can put the others in place. So then, and I'll tell you, a lot of this is information that is fairly new to me just because of studying during this shutdown, saying, I got to get better at human form. So let's put a body like this jumping toward me. So I'm going to take these shoulders and make them real big, and we'll probably see some of the back. Let's say that we can see a little bit of the back bumping. And so I've got a map like this for the back muscles, just like I do for the chest muscles memorized. So let's put a head like this. Now the head is coming toward me, so the eyes are going to be down lower. The top of the head comes toward me, and it's going to cause the eyebrows to bend up like this. And even if I put those eyes with an upward glance, let's do that. Let's put them going like this. Put a lot of curve on those. Like this, and then I'll put the dark part of the eye oriented toward the top of the curve, and then I'll put a nose like this, just some kind of a nose shape that's aiming down, and then a mouth. So here we have on a face, we have a nose, right, coming off the middle of the face. That's going to block a lot of the mouth right there. So I don't want to put the mouth way down. If I want foreshortening, then I want to think about what is in front of what comes out, what goes in. I'm thinking about this. So let's put a mouth that is very close now to this nose, kind of like that first face I drew, but look how close I go to the nose in order to set that mouth back and behind this nose. So then I'm going to put the jaw up high. Look, the jaw is behind. So when this head tilts down, I'm going to see that jaw in line. Look at this line. I'm looking this way. I see forehead, I'm going to see brow, I'm going to see jaw, right along the same line. So I should put the jaw somewhere close to the brow. Isn't that crazy? So let's go like this and put a very triangular shape like this, and put that jaw way up high to put a downward facing head. And then we're going to put the round top of the skull, because look, from here, you see a lot of that. You see a lot of that skull. Let's put the brows coming across. And let's put some ears. So again, ears are going to be like up above the brow in relation to my line of sight. So let's go like this and put those ears nice and high. But I can just remember they're on top of the jaw, you know, and it gives me a good height. Let's put a believable hairline in here somewhere, maybe like down here, up around the forehead. Goes down in front of the ears. Let's go like this and put some hair going back, and then hair from the other side. If you really point these lines right to each other, you can get that effect of light hitting the middle like this. Okay, now we're going to put here, let's put a, I just thought of this because this character looks like it could have a bun. There we go. There. It's a bun. All right. Man, it's so funny, the things that become cool as I get older. So now I'm going to put I'm going to put one of these arms coming up close to me. So what I want to do is an arm real similar to that Wolverine. I know that a shoulder goes up real close as it raises. A shoulder goes real close to the jaw. Okay, so then it's going to block a lot of the view of the shoulder. Arm is going to be under here, so there's going to be bicep right here. So I need a curve that goes across the top of the arm, and then it's going to go down over the chest side of the bicep muscle before it goes in again onto the chest. Now I don't want to go down far because I want my foreshortening. So I really want to shrink this body as this is coming forward. So let's put the chest going up to a collarbone that is really behind the chin. So it's going to be way up here. Collarbones are going to form somewhat of a triangle around the neck. And this one is going to be way close to the jaw because of the way the shoulder is raised up. So I might have just barely a little bit of a gap visible here. And I'll separate the shoulder from the chest with the shadow like that. So this one, maybe I'll raise this up a little more to, you know, I just feel like maybe I was kind of far away from the neck. And let's put this arm going back. One arm going forward, one arm going back. Bottom of the chest, right here, you can see I've got it way scrunched up on the head. Then we're going to go up like this and put the shoulder muscle now going backwards. So it's going to be raised up off of the shoulder blade in the back. Here's a muscle, and then the shoulder is going to be shorter from going straight back like this, wrapping down the arm. So you can see from the side view it's like this. So let me pause for a moment and say that, you know, because I know what's happening. Oh man, I know what's happening. I'm going to cut for a minute. I'm going to cut to this screen. So I know that as I'm just jibber jabbering and just rapidly talking through this, that it can send the wrong impression. It can say, okay, so you have to be a crazy person that rapidly thinks about many body parts and accurately draws them in order to do it. No, that's not it. Really, it's just I've got this short amount of time to do this demonstration. And what I really want to be evident is that I'm working from a parts list. And I've used my knowledge of three-dimensional shapes and over time have learned each part in three-dimensional space. And so when you're drawing, this is the process. This is how you develop that. You draw from what you see. You draw a model. You look at yourself in the mirror. You draw the parts. You know, you turn your arm. You're like, okay, I've got this part that I can see. My shoulder going onto my arm. You draw that, but you never do it without identifying the parts. So if you want to be real proficient in this process, always know what part you're drawing, and you will be adding to your memory bank. This, I firmly believe this, because once I keyed into that, once I noticed, like, I feel like this is the process by which I'm learning, my learning really did accelerate. You know, I was doing research, just looking for the parts within the parts that I already knew, and then applying the three-dimensional space to those. I was never just drawing curves and turns that I didn't know what it was, because that doesn't do anything for me as I progress. So let me go back and keep drawing so that we can get our foreshortening demo done. I didn't want to pause too long and make the video boring, but Wings and Things says very informative. All right, good. I'm trying to be very realistic. I know how important truth is. You know, when you are trying to learn something that, you know, like right now I'm trying to learn Chinese. Man, it's taken me forever. It is very hard, and I do not know very much at all. But it is so valuable to me when someone just says the truth about the sticking points, the difficulty, what I should expect to encounter. So I'm trying to do that in this as well, as just give the honest truth of the mechanics that are involved in this process of building from imagination. So let me switch back to our overhead here. And so now I am thinking about this part. I'm not going to see the point of this shoulder. It's going to be rounded. I'm just going to grab a quick drink of water. And then I might just barely see the rest of the arm, depending on which direction it's going. I could put it up here. I could put it down here. Actually, why don't we put it up high? That'll be funner. So maybe I just barely see a tiny bit of arm. So for now, I'm just going to make edge of an oval that represents the outside of the arm going back. And then I'm going to imagine the elbow being up high. So I'll make a slight curve and put the arm curving like this and still going back and away. So I'm going to make these curves but rapidly get skinnier, and then apply those same curves, line right there, separating bicep from this muscle. You can even see this on my arm. See this right here. You can see that same thing. It's convenient that I I'm such a stringy person, you know, because I get to observe these things on my own arm. And so we have line, and I can put that in perspective now on this arm with just these little lines, just one tiny line here, and then a tiny line there. And so I've got a muscle that kind of goes in front of this one. So if I put this curve going like this and then overlapping across here, I want that curve. I did that slow because a curve is a powerful thing on human form. So I'm trying to be accurate. I want a curve in front of a curve, and that's going to give me a more three-dimensional, a more backward direction as this wrist goes further and further away. So then I'm going to put the last curve, that is the wrist bone. So a slight arch right there and right here. Just short lines. You would not think that lines can have such meaning. Such tiny lines can have such meaning in a picture, but they do. Okay, so now let's put the muscle of the thumb going to the bone of the thumb. And now I'm going to choose the position of this hand. So I'm thinking maybe it's just an open hand. Let's put knuckles going across here, connecting to this knuckle that the thumb is on. So here we'll make 1, 2 curves. And so Ben says, why are you learning Chinese? Maybe try some for your audience. Okay. Yeah. How do I say? 我的名字是 Joe. 我喜欢画画，我是画家。It means I like drawing. I'm drawing. I said I like drawing and I am drawing. So wait, what did I say? I am a painter. I think 画画 is 画家 is a painter person, and if you say 我喜欢画画, it means I like to paint. So I confused drawing with painting, but I still haven't learned how to differentiate between drawing and painting in Chinese. So, 你好, you say to somebody to greet them. It's like hello. And Uh, so I'm learning some common phrases. There's a handful of them. There's a handful of them. I'm working on it. I think my strong point is for a white guy, I have a pretty decent accent for hardly knowing any Chinese. That's what my Chinese friends tell me. They're like, "Oh, that's good pronunciation." So now I just got to get some vocabulary. All right, so now I'm going to draw I did that whole thing, that whole Chinese bit I did looking at the camera and stopped drawing, but I forgot to switch. So let's get back to the point. So we've got fingers going away, 1, 2, 3. So I just made the segments of the finger going back. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, 1, 2. Now I just want you to notice how teeny tiny those lines are. But even if the lines overlap and I don't see them individually, the act of putting them in place because I know that it's a part makes a difference. So I went like this. I said there's another part behind that knuckle. So what that is this knuckle. I did this knuckle that I call it the knuckle that bends the most. We have this knuckle, this knuckle, this knuckle, this knuckle, and I put those in by going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then putting the little end of the finger on there. And when I did the top, even though all the lines just merged together, I still drew them individually because we are so visually sensitive that maybe there's a tiny bump in there that once we've already decided in our mind that this hand is going away, we quickly make sense of any teeny tiny detail that says the same story. So I put them in. I don't underestimate the power of the smallest details when it comes to doing things in perspective. So here's an arm going away from me, and I'm going to put a wrist bone kind of going straight across like this, like that, and going down on the thumb. This is a curve that I've learned is on a wrist, and so that'll help, kind of a signature line right there. So now this arm I want to come toward me. So let's put a bicep coming right off of here, and then let's put the rest of the arm right out in front of it, like this, real big. And I've got to erase this. Let's erase it, bring this over here. And these curves, I want to really exaggerate the curves now because this is in perspective. So I've got this arm kind of squished. Maybe I would just slightly see the underside of that arm. And then maybe I'd see a small line for the top. I'm just imagining the inside. It's this shape right here. It's this bicep. And they slope a little bit outward as they approach the elbow, leaving the tricep exposed here and here. And so then we've got the elbow popping out after that. So I've got that shape sloping out here, here. That's this line is this line, this line. And then I'm going to put a real big forearm with the elbow right here attaching. See, this is the tricep here. So I need to make sure I put a bump right there and then go over to this biggest bone of the elbow. And that's where the, that's this bone, that's here, I'm going to get it on camera so you can see it. That's this bone that I just now drew, and that bone goes all the way up to the outside of the wrist. So if I just make this line to where I want the hand to be, let's put it right here, then I can just put the hand on the end of it. So let's go like this, put the hand right here. That looks kind of funny to me. I want to put it a little bit lower. I think I want the hand not to be so raised up. It's just a weird position. It's not that it can't happen. It just makes me feel weird. So we're not going to do it. We're going to put this down lower. And we'll put the thumb muscle. This is the one behind the pinky. So this is what I've drawn. This and this. And so now I'm going to put the thumb right in front of that curved line for this front section of the thumb. Another curved line where it goes back and attaches to the hand. Now, I want the fingers coming forward off this. See these lines? In perspective, as I tip my hand, I can just put those going right across here, like that, to put that hand coming forward. And then if I put fingers, I'm going to put the knuckle that bends the most is where I'm going to kind of center my drawing from, because that's easiest for me to imagine. If I put that, if I think from that, okay, I imagine that knuckle being right here. That's what I find easiest. Okay, so now I'm going to put a finger right in here, and I'll space these two apart a little bit. 1, 2. These two are spaced apart. These are put together because this is just a natural thing that happens. They seem like they want to stick together, these two middle fingers. So let's put this one out further than the rest. This is the pinky, 1, 2, 3 sections coming off of that palm. And then I can, I've got a hand. I've got a 3-dimensional hand, but it could be better. So now I just do little tweaks. So this is where we have the what maybe someone called correcting mistakes, fixing errors, but I just call it adjusting. We're just trying to adjust to the hand expression that I'm looking for. So I'm working from the closest to the furthest knuckle. Closest, we do one more back. I just tried to put a little more bend, make them a little larger. And then I want this one, I just thought that looked a little bit strange. I don't know how to adjust that one actually. What I'm going to do is put just the end. You can have this for a finger. Look, it's just a circle because it comes right toward you. Let's try that. So a lot of times I think we feel like we have to, it doesn't feel right to be able to just do a circle and have a 3-dimensional finger. But look, when I do those few lines around it, if I've set the picture up with the other parts telling the same story, then it actually fits. It actually fits the drawing, to put a finger coming right toward me with just a circle. So I think I'll stick with that. Maybe I'll put it a little lower, just to the edge, like this. Like that. Put a fingernail in there. 1, 2, 3 knuckles. 1, 2, 3. Right there. And then a little shadow helps too. Let's put shadow under these. Brings those fingers forward. So you can put whatever kind of a hand position you want. And just when you're doing a hand, I think working from the knuckles, understanding where the knuckles would be is probably the most powerful thing. I'm going to make this one down a little more here. These knuckles I think I made too far out. Let's go a little bit shorter. Let's go shadow under this finger, shadow under this finger. Should have set the open time on my screen longer. We'll do that for the next one. Yeah, so Ben reminded me, I didn't answer the question. Why am I learning Chinese? Because I have many friends. This is a college student town. This is a college town. We have so many Chinese people coming from to be scholars and students, visiting students and scholars. There's this thing that our friends were doing. They called it English Corner, and it gave students and scholars the opportunity to come hang out with English speakers and practice in a safe environment. So we would just have good conversation, have dinner together, and this was such a fun thing. We ended up making lots of Chinese friends because of it. And so then I wanted to learn Chinese so that I just found it fascinating. And you know what I discovered? I want to tell you something that I discovered as I'm messing with this pinky that was already probably good enough. Let's just leave this alone. Put the thumb in place and be done with this thing. What I discovered with Chinese is that I don't think of myself as I have to switch the camera to say this. Okay, I'm going to go back to this and draw on it in just a second, but let me cut and just tell you something, because I was inspired last night by my friend Todd as he was giving a presentation for his company show, talking about racism. So don't be alarmed. I'm not going to say anything stupid here. But he was talking about the importance to not always be on the defense instantly when someone says, "Are you racist?" Because our society has set us from birth on that track. And so it doesn't mean that you chose to be a bad guy, but you may be subject to some racist habits. And so maybe be open minded instead of defensive. When someone says, "Are you racist?" How about think, "Am I? If I am, help me. Help me to understand and adjust and be better." I so appreciated that perspective. It really was something I hadn't thought of instead of the instant, "Oh, uh, racists are really bad people and I'm not a bad guy." No, I'm not racist. But maybe I have some impolite assumptions about something. I noticed that I had this about Chinese people. And when I started getting really meaningful friendships out of these meetings, I said, I want to learn Chinese because now I see that I have been all wrong about this very different looking culture to my own. It's so different. And the unfamiliarity made me have all kinds of incorrect assumptions. So I have thoroughly enjoyed making new friends and just the adventure of culture I knew nothing about, and learning new things. It's just a thrill in life for me to do that. Okay, now back to this drawing. So it's funny because this character I'm drawing looks a little bit Asian, and I didn't plan that. So here, let's go. Let's go back here and finish up this character. Now we're doing foreshortening. And I'm just going to throw in the rest of the body real quick. We've got an arm coming toward, and let's put a quick wrist on there. Just a short line like that, a muscle here. Maybe we can barely see this tricep going behind like that. And maybe we'll see the tendons going like, there's tendons under that wrist. That didn't look so good when I did that bone. So maybe just a tinier line like this. Now, the underside of the body needs to be so scrunched. I have to really scrunch it. So this is that muscle. Right here on Wolverine, we did it right here and here. So I'm going to do this line and this line on the body. So 1, 2, and then we're going to go 1, 2. I made this one a little bit flatter because of the way the arm is bent. 1, 2, and then ribs. Ribs pop out from under the chest a little bit, so we're going to go like this, like that. And then the stomach is going to be this real short area. Look, we don't see very much of the stomach, so we're going to go like that and really shrink it. So we see this line get straighter. We see hips coming down like this. And then how about I put a leg going back like this and another leg going forward like this. So maybe this leg comes down. Maybe we have a bend on the legs. So this one comes forward, and we've got a knee right there. And then this one needs to go back. So maybe I curve that in a little bit too tight. Let's go like this. Curve it right here. This knee is going back and behind that one. So I'm going to really shorten this leg. Really shorten it. So the knee comes down like this. So now this one is going more forward, so we see a lot more of this leg. Now I need my 2 curves if I want this to be more realistic. So we'll go like this. Let's put 1 and 2. And then we could put some muscle in here if we want, but we don't need a lot. Just a few lines is enough to represent that. And then the leg going behind, maybe I just barely see the muscles sticking out from under the knee, and then a foot going down, let's say right about here. I just try different positions until I like one when I'm doing a foot. Oh, I'm off camera a little bit, sorry. Let's go like this. And let's put this in place. So now I've got the shin, and I know that there is a muscle that is lower and a muscle that's higher. And so I'm thinking about those parts as I put them behind this knee right here. And I know the knee kind of has 2 bumps, but this is not crucial to getting my foreshortening to look good. But the more parts I can put in perspective, the more I can create this kind of stacked, like in a landscape, we have hills in front of hills, curves in front of curves. And so getting those in just the right spot can be a very helpful thing. Okay, now when I said that, I went up. I can't even point to a spot without getting caught up in the adjustments that need to happen on. I needed to separate those muscles right there. Okay, so now this leg is way behind, and we can go like this, put these muscles in front of the knee now, and then we can just put another foot just going right down here and much smaller than the foot that I already drew. And then how about some shadow? Let's put some shadow in here, maybe like here. So let's put shadow on this, going up this way under the ribs. Now look how that makes that go back, and then this comes forward. And then I can put shadow under this. Here's those muscles. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's put some stomach muscles in here. Let's make like a I don't know what kind of an outfit to put on this person, so let's just put a sleeveless shirt. Can't go wrong with that. Good for showing muscles. Put some wrinkles across the belly maybe, like that. Okay. Then put shadow right in here. So not being afraid to dramatically change parts according to the distance. Now, one last thing to add to this. I made this look like an up-close picture by really blowing it out. So this goes way far back, this comes way far, or this has extreme size change is what I'm trying to say. So this hand here is so much smaller than this hand. So this is what happens, you know, just like in the past I've talked about that rule of halves and doubles just because that's an easy way to remember. But when something is twice as far away, it is half the size. So if I am right up close to this character, then this hand may in fact be 3 or 4 times further from me than this hand. If I'm right next to this one, let's say I'm just 12 inches away from this hand, well, then if I'm 4 feet away from this one, then I want this to be a quarter of the size. You know, so you don't have to do math, but just remember the more extreme we make these differences, the closer I am to the character. That's what we can learn from that. So I made it look like we're right up in it. It's an action shot, you know, where it's like we've got the camera right up next to the character as he's leaping forward doing something awesome. Let's put some shadows on the chest, put muscle in here. Oh yeah, he's a ninja. Got a muscle that comes down here, leaves a concave right in here. Let's put a shadow right there between those muscles. There are 3 muscles on the shoulder. We've got a muscle here between these. So you get the point. I've taken a long time to learn the parts, but I didn't just learn the parts. You know, I studied and drew pictures, knowing what part I was drawing while I was drawing it so that it would stick in my memory. And this is something I wanted to talk about when I titled this video, How to Draw, because this has been the key to all of my progress is following this method. Okay, so last thing we were going to do the switching back and forth, childlike face, adult face, feminine face, masculine face. It's face bones. It's all about face bones. So a female has a different rate of bone growth, and so we see that. We see a big difference in faces. If you want to make a face more masculine or more feminine or more childlike versus more mature, the pattern is the same. So a this is why we need to dress our young children. And if we want people to know whether our baby, I've got 3 kids, you choose like, a boy color for your boys because people don't know the difference. It's hard to know if you're looking at a boy or a girl a lot of the time with little ones because those face bones have not yet started growing to where you can make a good distinction. And so, I've always had kind of a young face. So bone structure. I'm not trying to give myself a compliment. I think I look a little more wimpy because of it also. But when I was younger, I was mistaken for a girl as I had long hair from time to time. The lines can be very blurry, but this is the difference maker. This is the dial that you turn because you decide how feminine or how youthful you want a face to look by turning this dial, size of face bone. So I'm going to turn that dial on this character. This is how you do it. Let's go over here. Partial to female bones. Yeah. I mean, I would definitely rather be looking at a pretty feminine face if I had to choose. Okay, here we go. Let's go like this and cut over to this picture. And if we want to turn this into a more feminine face, then here's what we'll do. To make it a child, I'll make it a bigger head. To make it more feminine, I'll make it have smaller bones. So to make it a feminine child, I need to do both. Very small face bones along with a bigger head. But that's not going to look good with all these muscles. So for now, let's not do that on this. I don't want to do that. This is too weird to turn this into a... I don't want to turn this into a feminine face. I want to start new. It's going to be better to see anyway. It's going to be easier to see. Okay, so let's do a feminine face. Let's do a face like this. Kind of looking over and up. Let's put a nose right here, a mouth right here. And let's put cheekbone like this. We've got a neck maybe going here. And so I'm just putting this in place real quick. Cheekbone to head. We got to leave room. I went a little bit high on this, so maybe I better bring it down. Work from big shapes to little shapes. Big shapes to little shapes. So the reason that I put this jaw very square is because I want an upward perspective now. It's something that we haven't done yet. So now I'm drawing a more upward perspective on this character. So we're going to put eyes right across the middle, and I'll start with a more feminine face because I actually think a more feminine face is simpler to draw. I'm putting the eyes a little high because the head is turned upward. So let's do this. Let's put our dark at the top, light at the bottom. Okay, just lighter at the bottom, darker at the top, and then put a little pupil in there. So we can go like this. And then let's go over here and do the same thing. Let's put a circle under this eye. I want to get it the same size. Here, let's go over here. Darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. Now eyes are kind of wrapped around the head, so the curve of this one, of the eyelids, I think since the eyeballs are facing the same direction most of the time, maybe just for the most part. I guess if we're going cross-eyed, might be different. But I'm going to make the circles pretty much the same in order to create a fixed, a real focused look on the character. But I might curve this one more extremely for an angle. So let's go like this. Put the curve more gently sloped on this one. And now she's looking up. I'm going to say she because that's my goal, is to make this look very girly. And so I'll put a brow right here. Now I've made this very round. So my first consideration of face bones is round eyelids because deep eye sockets will obstruct the smoothness of these curves. So let's put the lower eyelid in place. Let's put a few eyelashes. Let's put those check marks like this. Maybe going up like this. Put a few check marks there. And this is kind of this is an easy way to get more of a feminine look, is to really define those eyelashes. That's more of a cultural perception, I think, on feminine versus masculine. But let's go like this, which counts, you know, a built perception. If it makes a difference, it makes a difference. If it makes you see masculine versus feminine, then, you know, we can use that. That's a tool. Everything is a tool to be used if it makes a difference. So now I'm just making brows in place, and then I'll put a nose in here. Let's put the nostrils. I don't know. I always enjoyed a wider nose. I think a nose is a real beautiful feature on a face. I love the shapes. So now I'll put the nostrils like this. 1, 2, put the middle of the nose a little lower, maybe like right there. And maybe put 1, 2 little lines. And then let's put a top lip. Okay, I'm putting it, I want the mouth to be, well, let me just put it in place right here. 1, 2. I want the mouth to be set back, is what I was going to say. So wherever I imagine the center of the nose, I'm going to pull that line to the right just a little, since the head is turned, and create the shadow. When you're making lips, look, this set of lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can do the same set of lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, less extremely, to create the mouth. Just a little trick. Okay, then let's put a shadow under the bottom lip like this. So now I want to adjust appropriately. You know, it's not like I always ace the size and the proportions, but this does look, it actually does look pretty feminine already. So now if I smooth these out, let's go like this, smoother jaw, because we want smaller bones. Let's put an ear, and I'll bring this one in a bit. Let's go like this, make that more curved, and then put an ear. Now this head is looking up, so instead of putting the ear up high like I did on that foreshortened character, looking down, I put the ear high. Looking up, I drop the ear down just a little. So let's go like this. Put this up here and then put it below the brow. So this is about my location for the ear. Let's go like this, put this part in place, put these ridges. And now I don't even need the hair. I don't even need the hairline. And since we want to flip the leaning of the masculine versus feminine balance. I didn't know how to say that. Okay, we want to. You gotta be careful with these things, defining things in masculine versus feminine. I find to be publicly safer than saying boy versus girl. So we're gonna stick with masculine, feminine, because that's really what we're visually talking about. And like I said, people didn't know what they were looking at a lot of times looking at me. So let's go like this and put a very small eyebrow ridge. So here's how we take this and turn this into a, now, okay, child. Someone said child. Here, let's put a little shadow here. We've got a shadow under a lower eyelid that I think looks good if we put in place. And then we've got a line over the upper eyelid. And if I make smooth lines here, smooth lines, they're not more square. They're very curved. If I do that, then this looks unobstructed by bones. But if I square them off, I'm going to show you in a minute as I turn this into a more masculine face. Now to have a child, this is what I'll do, is I'll just put a smaller neck and a smaller body on it. So this is, honestly, this is as much as I can tell about the difference between adult girl and young boy. They're just so similar. But I'm going to put a smaller neck. We're going to see what this does. And then let's imagine shoulders that come down here. Okay, so look what happens when I put the shoulders real narrow. I'm kind of exaggerating it. So let's put the shoulders going out this far. Remember that 1/3 rule I said? So my head, look at this. Let me flip the camera real quick. My head is about 1/3 the width of my shoulders. You can imagine one face, another face, another face. And so I'm probably on the small side of normal adult man proportions. And so if I want child, then I'm going to make the head take up more of that space. So 1/3 is just my starting point that I compare things to. So let's cut back over here and look at this. So I've got a face. If I go all the way over here, another face would go way off this. So I'm within that ratio. If I want to do something more childlike, then I'll do this. Now if I want to do something more more woman-like, I'll just say more woman-like because it's very common proportions for women, is to have a longer neck. So now the body has had time to grow. It's bigger. Everything's bigger, longer. We're going to make this longer, and then we're going to extend the shoulders out, put more adult proportions. Let's even put a collarbone on it right here. Like this. Let's go down here now, put a collarbone to a shoulder, and then maybe we've got a little curve there, we've got a little bump there. I just want to put a little more of the form in place so that we can visualize that. Okay, so obviously we have more adult-like proportions. And now if I finish this off with hair, you know, I could put just some kind of believable hair so that it's maybe something I'm familiar with seeing on a girl. You know, this is the difference that I would do between female and child. Okay, so now to make this more masculine, this is the goal, is to make this more masculine. The first thing I'm going to do is make the eyelids more square. Now these bones are going to grow. So now listen, don't get mad at me for defining these things. It's always uncomfortable, intimidating when somebody like puts a bunch of measurements on your physical appearance. But these are the tools that we use to create what we want to create. So don't get me wrong as I start defining these things. Just because I say that this shape can make it look more masculine, I don't want someone to be sad and be like, "Oh, great, I actually have a girl face." I don't want people to think no. Please don't take it that way. All right, the more I talk, the more trouble I'm going to get in. So I'm going to flip back over here and go like this. Up and over and down, like this. Just a slight obstruction to the smoothness of the curve. Okay, we're going to go up, and we've probably seen this a lot. A lot of eyes you've drawn are like this. Now I'm going to go closer to that as I go over with this eyelid. So let's go like this. And so now what we're doing is creating the overhang of a brow. And so now I'm going to go like this, make a shadow kind of like I've got on my eye. Goes over like this, over like this. So I didn't even draw this. This was a part I didn't even draw on the previous picture. There was no shadow here, but now I've got overhang that I want to represent. So without even changing the two-dimensional shapes, I haven't moved the eyebrows or the bones on the sides. I'm just creating depth in the eye socket by adding these shadows. And so this is how I'm going to gradually bend this to a more bony, more highly developed bones in the face. They've grown bigger. So then to go along with that, I'm now going to expand this part of the head. And so this is going to come further off of the head. Let's go out for the brow and back in for the forehead. Let's go in right here and out again for the cheekbone. Let's go down and bring the jaw out in all directions. So we're going to see more corner here. We're going to see a longer chin here. I didn't go very far from here to here. Down right there. Up right there. Okay, so now let's put this. I'm not going to move the mouth. I'm just going to leave it because that looks just fine to me. And so then just a trick you can do, I'm not sure if this actually is what happens, but if I lower these brows, then it's going to make the sockets look like there's more overhang. It's going to look like more overhang on it. So let's lower these brows. Like this. Oh, such a handsome fellow. Okay, now let's take the hair out. I want to put another hairstyle just because we've changed characters, so I want to change the hairstyle. Not that there's anything wrong with this kind of hair on a man. Okay, let's go like this. Put the brow going up like so. And then put hair that maybe goes maybe like this and around. Let's go down like this. If you just make lines from both ends of a clump of hair, wherever you want it, then you can get the effect of light coming across that hair, Okay, now I'm going to put the hair coming down behind the ear a little. Let's go like this. It's the hair I always wanted to have. This is the hair I always wished for. Dark, flowing, falls right in place. Not a giant cowlick on the back of my head. And I'm going to put some hair coming down the side. A little more sideburn. We'll make a more masculine look here. And then I'm going to make the neck bigger. An adult man is likely to have a larger neck and body than if that adult man were an adult woman. So we're going to put a wider neck. Okay, that means a wider throat. And I don't need to change the location of those collarbones. Let's put bigger muscles on top of that collarbone. Like this. We get so much information off of this neck and shoulders portion. I feel like this is the overlooked part of masculinity versus feminine, is the way that shoulder line flows down. Okay, now I'm going to put some shadow here, and let's really define this cheek. Here's a fun trick you can do on a face. Just put a shadow right across there, diagonal line. And what that does is defines a sharper turn. I can define how big these bones are on my character this way. So now we've got what looks like a young man, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got and if I shrink the eyes, okay, this is the other thing, is since the whole head, but I don't really need to shrink the eyes, but it will make a difference. Oh, so old versus young. Young, we have closer together eyes, they'll be bigger. Watch what happens when I shrink these. This is going to add age to it. A child is going to have bigger circles in comparison to the other things. An adult, they move further apart. So maybe like 4 circles apart. So I'll shrink these down, and this will add. And this is something I think is subjective. It changes with the individual, but I've just found this to be a real consistent average. If I go about 4 circles apart, then the eyes are going to look older now. So let's go here, underside, finish these shadows that I had in there. I kind of erased them. Put the shadows in the corners. There, now the eyes are older. It's not as much of a child. Not as much of a child eye. Let's put the shadows going here at the nose, up onto the brow. Now we can see this nose ridge popping out more. The eye sockets are deeper. Let's go this way. We've got that shadow. Put shadow under this one. Anywhere you put shadows that define the size of face bones is going to affect the feminine versus masculine appearance of your person. Here, let's put the brow coming over. This will help define a bigger ridge on the brow too, bringing those closer together. Man, I could do this all day, but I've got to stop. I'm going to flip over and see if there's any last things that we want to talk about before I shut her down. Thank you very much for watching. It's been fun drawing. I hope that this will be some valuable information for people learning to draw out there. I'm hoping. And so let's go over, see if there's any last things to talk about on the live chat. I'm just refreshing the page because I'm curious. I'm curious what we're up to on viewers. Oh, I lost some. We're down, down to 65. Young, handsome male adult for sure. Yes. Yes, there's always a part of me as an artist that feels, which is probably a healthy thing. I feel like I need to be careful as I'm catering to our stereotypes, but we all have what we've seen the most. We all have the running average of every girl we've seen, the running average of every boy. We distinguish these by shapes, and so while it might be a shifting average, a shifting center, it does exist. So I always try to be real sensitive about the things that I'm calling boy or girl, In the end, I really want to impart the understanding of how to turn the dials on your character as you're drawing. It's been very helpful for me to be able to just say, I want this character to look a little more feminine, so what can I alter about this? Boom, I get it with just a little adjustment of a line. You're welcome. You're welcome very much. I don't know how to say Mihaela Serbin? Yeah. Right. Cancel culture. Man, let's not get into any fiery debate subjects on my videos. I got to be careful. Yeah, but there's pressure as an artist, and there should be. There should be some pressure because you have the power to affect people's lives. I want to share with you this thing I did when I was younger that I will forever regret. Oh man, how I wish I could have an opportunity to apologize to the young man that I drew a portrait of because he was going to my school, and I wanted to impress some of the nearby bullies, just the kids, bully-ish, they weren't just regularly beating kids up, so they weren't really bullies, but just kind of emotionally abusive. I wanted to impress them, so I drew a portrait of this kid in a very signature way. Now, I didn't make it ugly, I just exaggerated the feel, like a short caricature. But man, the moment they saw that, they knew exactly who it was. They pointed at the picture, laughed. Oh, they laughed, and they pointed at him, and I fueled that fire and made him feel extremely embarrassed in front of a crowd. And my purpose for drawing the picture was to spotlight him. It wasn't to give him honor, So I deeply regret that choice. The things that we do just to impress somebody in a moment. And so my point is, it's good to be careful as you're representing people, as you're drawing parts, you're drawing things. You are representing what we are and how we like to be seen, what light we like to be seen in. So there is a duty for artists, I think, to try to bring life with your work. All right. Just seeing if there's anything else we have to address before I shut it down. Kids can be rotten, yes. And I was rotten. We get a chance to make up for it. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I got a chance to change my mind on what kind of person I want to be. I'll go with that. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to end the stream. And we're going to do this again. I'm going to change up the schedule a little bit and change it to Wednesday. So I know we've been doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I'm going to switch now to 2 days a week. We're just going to do Monday and Wednesday now. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I was just going over that. 10-second delay. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks. Uh, no, that's good of it. That's good. Good of Ben to catch that and remind me. Uh, so we're gonna do Wednesday, same time, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So hopefully you'll get the message. Maybe I'll just send out a reminder. You can get on my newsletter if you go to my website muraljoe.com. Then you can sign up to receive email blasts when I send those out for announcements and new videos that I release. And so I'll love to see you then. I'm going to switch to 2 days a week now because things are getting busier. I'm very happy that things are getting busier and I have some jobs outside of my house to work on. And so we're going to take down the frequency a bit. But I love doing this so much. I never would have even started doing this if it weren't for all the shutdown. So I appreciate you being along for the ride. It's been a lot of fun. Okay, that's it. That's it. Wednesday, 9 a.m. Good seeing you guys again. And so we'll see you Wednesday morning. Oh, I got to do the fade to black thing. Fade to black. I always forget that I have this technology now. All right. We'll see you next time. Oops, wrong. I faded to the other camera. Hang on, let me try that again. Okay, we'll see you next time.